What if the reason productivity advice hasn't worked for you is because it was never designed for your life in the first place? Well, my guest this week, Chelsey Newmyer, helps high-achieving women redefine success so it feels real, sustainable, and personal by blending practical productivity strategies with astrology. She is a time management and productivity coach who works with clients to give themselves permission to stop forcing systems that were never designed for their energy. And this insightful and I would say refreshing and new conversation to the podcast because I don't think we've delved into astrology yet in this podcast. I'm sitting down with Chelsey and she is going to share with us all her knowledge. She is also a behavioral science expert. So she challenges these traditional narratives around productivity and routines. And we talk about the unrealistic expectations many women carry, like the pressure to wake up super, super early, maintain the same energy throughout the day and every single day, and follow rigid routines that don't work for real life, where you have to be flexible and things can change in an instant. Chelsey shares the story behind starting her business as well during the pandemic, after realizing that most productivity advice, especially the kind written for corporate executives with support staff, simply didn't reflect the realities of women managing life, managing careers, families, and personal goals. And her work really does center on this idea that your productivity has to be personal to you. We talk about hormones, energy cycles, life seasons, and we do delve into my birth chart and some human design work. Now you'll have to listen for Chelsey's read on my birth chart and my rising sign and my moon sign. And I love astrology. I've gone into it over the years and I find it to be very illuminating. And Chelsey's an expert, so it's really refreshing to hear her talk about some of the things that I have discovered about myself, but her talking to me about it as an expert and me just kinda learning as I go over the past few years. So I'm really excited for you to listen to Chelsey and her view on productivity and how it could be helpful to you, because it's really all about and Chelsey will talk about this, it's really about learning to work with your natural rhythms, redefining what discipline and commitment mean to you, and designing a life where productivity supports your well-being and supports what you want to do and how you want to do it, whether it's how you work, how you lead, or how you live. With that, here's my conversation with Chelsey. Chelsey, it is so good to have you on the podcast. I am so excited. I was telling you before that I was listening to your podcast, and so I'm so thrilled to delve into all the things with you. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to dive in because this is my favorite stuff to talk about.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so let's start with your story and your background so people can get to know you a little bit better. Tell us your story and how you got to do what you do now.
Absolutely. So I started my business back in 2020. It was kind of the classic COVID business story. And really was inspired because I have always been a nerd for all things time management and productivity, right? It's always been something that was really fun for me. Making my to-do list was something I looked forward to, right? And I realized that more and more of the women that I worked with and just friends were kind of coming to me for this advice and that there was a gap and there was a need. The final straw for me was reading a book about time management and productivity written by a man in some big corporate office. And he talked about taking a nap in the middle of his workday and having his support staff person prepare all the notes for his meeting so that he could multitask during the meetings. And I just closed the book and I was like, nope, I'm done. Because at the time I was working a traditional, 9-to-5 job. I was trying to run my business. I'm like, who's going to tell my boss that I need to take a nap in the middle of the day? Who is going to tell my boss that I need to carve out one whole day for deep work and no one can talk to me and I can't have any meetings. And like, it just didn't make sense, right? I was reading so much advice that just didn't make sense. And this was also coming off of years of trying to force myself into routines that just weren't working. And the only consequence of those routines was that I felt like a failure. I felt like, why can't I get up at 5 a.m. and work out right away? Why can't I stick to this particular routine at this particular time and do it every day and wake up with the same energy? And like, where was my discipline, right? I thought I was just being undisciplined. And so I realized like productivity has to be personal. It has to account for so many pieces of who you are as a person, what your actual life looks like, what you enjoy doing, how you enjoy working. And so that's the root of my business. And when I do my coaching, is that productivity is personal. It has to make sense for you and your goals. And over the last year or two, I started to find new and really fun ways to make it even more personal by incorporating astrology and human design. I got a certification in behavioral science, so now I understand why we have the routines and the habits that we do, and can use more practical tips and tricks to help build those for the people that I work with. So that's really been the journey of why I got into this space in the first place and why I just absolutely love what I get to do.
Chelsey, we're gonna get into human design and astrology in just a few minutes, but I have to ask you, as you were recounting the story of reading that book by that man about productivity and how you're like, this isn't making sense. Like this is not realistic and workable for most people. And then for you, what is the biggest lie we're told, you think, about productivity? And, which may even make people, feel the way that you're describing of like, I feel like then it's something wrong with me that I can't do it this way. What do you think the biggest lie we're told and what we still grapple with?
Yeah, for women, it's that we're going to be the same level of productivity every day.
Yeah.
Like, it's just not true. And it's for a whole host of reasons, right? Like, it's where you are in your hormone cycle. It's the type of work that you have to sit down and do that particular day. It's if you have a children or a family or a partner, what their schedule and routine was like. So the fact that we are expected to live the same day over and over, the fact that we're expected to show up and wake up and be the same level of energy every day or enjoy the same type of work is a big old myth.
It sounds like there are these things over time, I feel like, when we can accept that that's not going to happen, like you're not going to have the same level of productivity, same level of energy because things in your life are changing or in your body are changing. I find that if we can accept that change each day, it's easier to manage because you're not expecting yourself to be at this level all the time. It's like when people say, "Oh no, I blocked off 5 hours of focus work." And I'm like, that's actually more than your brain can actually do in terms of when you and I probably know, like there's only a certain amount of hours your brain can do high-powered focused work, and it's not 5 hours in a row. Right? So I think if people can accept that it doesn't have to be this way, they put less pressure on themselves and they would feel less like, they're not meeting their own expectations.
Absolutely. And it goes back to the story I shared too of like me working out at 5 o'clock in the morning is not ideal, right? It's just not, it doesn't work well for me. And so the point of that is your routine is not going to look the same as someone else's. And that's okay too. And I think there's such an emphasis to be like the early riser. And there's, like they get a lot of credit, like, oh, you're so great because you can wake up early and it's just it's not necessary or realistic for many people.
Yes. There's a book, I think is it called The 5 a.m. Club? Oh, there's another book about waking up early.
Yes. Yes.
But I tell people all the time, some of those books, parts of those books can be incredibly helpful, but you have to kind of take what is helpful and kind of know, okay, that wouldn't work for me, but I could try this one thing. Maybe I'll try this and experiment. So I definitely feel like there are plenty of these kinds of 5 a.m.er books. And I found maybe like 30% to be like something I could probably do consistently. And even then giving myself a lot of grace. Like even Chelsey, in full transparency, I'm a 5 a.m.er.
Yeah. I mean, there's still some Scorpio. Hey, I am too now.
Okay, so you're but so by the way, but Chelsey, I was not that way before. I was not a 5 a.m.er before. This is more like in the past maybe 4 years, right? This is very recent for me. But I think about that a lot because for some people, they're in a different season of life and they're a different stage of career or life where that does not work. Right? If you have an infant, you're not doing that. You're not doing that. Because why? No, that'd be death. You would not want to do that to yourself, right? So I think we have to be paying attention to where we are too. Chelsey, you're like dying to say something. Give it to me.
Yeah, so when it comes to like the morning, because I love talking about morning routines because they're just such a powerful moment in our day. And even if that routine happens not as soon as you wake up, right? I think like you have to set the intention of the routine is more important than the routine itself. But my journey to being a 5 a.m. wake up person, I still can't wake up at 5 a.m. and work out. But I realized that my husband and I met in Virginia, and that's where I started this business. And then my husband's in the Navy, so we moved to Guantanamo Bay, Cuba for 2.5 years. And I realized that if I don't work out in the morning, it's too hot to go for my run. Like I had to get out the door. If I wasn't out the door by 8 a.m., I was going to pass out on the road. Right? It was just too hot. So I had to readjust what my routine was going to look like. And what I realized through some experiment, right, I went back to the exact same routine that I always tried of getting up and getting out right away. And I was like, and I kept failing at it, do 2 days in a row and then, lose that momentum. I realized that what I need, and I realized too, this is a Leo thing. I need to be creative first thing. I need to do something with my mind. I need to do something that makes me feel seen right away. So I realized like I started waking up and the first thing I would do was actually send an email to my email list. I would write my email and send the email to my list. It helped me be creative because I was writing. It helped me be seen because I got out in front of my audience. I would maybe post on Instagram. I would do something creative. And so from like, let's just say 5 to 6, then I would go for my run, do my cool down, where I walk my dog. This was before I had a kid. The luxury of time before I have children. And then, then I would like talk to my sister and talk to my friend like on their commutes into work. And then I'd get myself ready and start my day by 9. Like in that routine I was consistent with for years. And because I just realized that I just needed that simple tweak of my feet can't hit the floor and be on a run. I need some warm up time and I need to do something creative and I need to feel seen. So that's again where astrology has made a really big difference in how I just approach those day-to-day habits. And now I can get up at 5, but I want to do something creative before I do anything else.
So what is your advice for people who are thinking to themselves, I want to be more intentional about my morning instead of waking up very reactive and running around? What would be your advice for people who are trying to establish like a morning routine that works for them that may not look like someone else's?
Yeah, I think a couple things. The first is, what is the intention of the morning routine? Do you want to feel energized? Do you want it to help you feel grounded, organized, peaceful? What is the intention first? Because then we can build around that. But if you want your morning routine to help you feel really peaceful and you're going for a run first thing, they may not make sense, right? It may be harder for you to make that happen. And then we build what I call like the good, better, best approach to every morning routine. So best case scenario, you want a grounded routine that helps you feel organized. So you're going to journal, you're going to do gratitude, list of things you're grateful for. You're going to track your habits and you're going to create your to-do list. And then maybe take 5 minutes to meditate, right? Like that is best case scenario. You woke up after a good night's sleep, you have the time, you're going to do it. And then we just scale down, right? What's better, right? Like what's all right, maybe we can't do a 5-minute meditation, but we can do a 2-minute meditation. Maybe it's a quick diary entry. Like you see what I mean? Like you kind of just scale back until like you reach the good is you journal for 5 minutes and it just helps you get out what's in your brain and you review your to-do list for the day to get organized. And that helps you be consistent with it, because then there's not this expectation that you have to do all of the things every single day to their maximum, and allows you to kind of root back into the intention of my morning routine is to help me feel grounded and organized. If that means that it also happens at 7 a.m. or 9 a.m. instead of 5 a.m., that's okay too. There's no wrong time to feel intentional and organized and grounded, right? Like, so sometimes my morning routine happens at lunchtime because I had a chaotic morning getting my son to daycare and I have to jump right into my job, and I do it at lunch. And I still call it my morning routine because it still serves its purpose for me.
Yeah, but it sounds like there's this just this theme of just intentionality about how you want to feel, right? Like you mentioned peacefulness or groundedness, or energized. And it seems like that would also apply to how you want to operate during the day. Is that right, Chelsey? Or is it okay, maybe different parts of your day, which we know they don't all look the same, but there's something about what you're saying that's making me think of intentionality for different parts of your day too.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you can, I said you can have, midpoints in your day, like have that lunchtime check in. It's like, okay, do I need to have more energy in the afternoon? What can I do to re-energize myself? Maybe that's a little, if you work from home, a little dance party, or, again, coming back to astrology, like I'm a Pisces moon. And so sometimes if I'm feeling really like overwhelmed, or if I'm starting to feel like, like that buzzy feeling, I have too many things to do, I don't even know where to start. I'll take a shower in the middle of the day, because water is so like calming for me. If I can't take a full shower, then I like wash my hands, right? Like, so coming back to those things that help you just kind of reset and pause and you kind of regain that perspective of being in the moment and what your goals are for the rest of that part of your day.
Yeah, and what you're saying too is knowing yourself, right? You know you're a Pisces, so and increasing that level of self-awareness about what might work for you or what you might need is important. So putting up a mirror to yourself and being like, what do I need and how would I know I need that? So you've been talking about astrology, human design. We're going to get into this. Chelsea's smiling because this is going to be fun. Okay, so Chelsey, first, let's level set with everyone. For people who are not, people like I think are familiar with like what astrology is. I don't think they fully appreciate, or many people don't fully understand how it can be so incredibly helpful for seeing different things in your life, for analyzing different things you're going through, for even productivity, right? Like what works best for you and why you would want to do like your birth chart. So can you walk us through kind of the power of astrology, how it can really help us, and why you encourage people to like figure this out? I know it's part of the work you do, so I'd love for you to share.
Yeah. So I am by no means an astrology expert, although I am working my way up the ladder. Like I'm learning as much as I can. And my goal is to get like a full kind of like certification so I can do deep birth chart readings, because that would be amazing. But for right now, astrology and understanding your birth chart gives these little glimpses and deep glimpses, depending on how much you want to learn about it, into all these different parts of your life, right? So you have the traditional sun. Most people know their sun sign, right? And that's based on the dates, like the date range in which you were born. But what makes you born on, April 1st different than the person who's born on April 2nd is your moon and rising sign. And that has to do exactly where the position of the moon was when you were born. And then like where the kind of like the sun was in the sky as your rising sign. So the or like the constellation behind the sun. So these allows you to understand like what parts of that sun sign is really going to stand out and be highlighted. And then there's all like the 10th houses, right? And each house reflects a different area of your life, your communication style, your career, community. Where your sun falls in which house also can tell you a lot about how you are going to show up and shine. So your sun is your like soul mission, right? That is like how you are in the world. That is your purpose on this planet. Your moon sign is more of the internal, right? It's what you need emotionally. It's how you rest and recharge and reset. And then your rising sign is like how others see you. It's how you how you're reflected back into the world and kind of how you operate sometimes on a day-to-day basis. So what's actually really interesting is I recommend, I've heard people do this as well, but read your rising sign horoscope as well. Like you should always read your sun sign horoscope, but also read your rising sign horoscope because that can give you a lot of insight into how how it's going to show up and be reflected for you on a day-to-day basis. So where I use this for productivity and time management is what your sun sign is like your energy. It's your what gets you going through the day, what you want to be working on, how you want to show up. So again, I'm a Leo sun. We crave being seen. So I know, again, as a business owner, if my Instagram post gets like no views, it's like annoyingly devastating to me, right? Because I'm like, who's what? No, look at me. Like, look at me. Look at my stuff. So I'm like annoying, and I'm working on it, but I want to see those numbers, right? Like I want to see people looking at my stuff.
It's not like, so I just want to say this to people because people who don't know you, it's because your stuff is good. It's really good.
Oh, well, thank you.
Like that's why it also bothers you because like I know it's good and it's helpful and it's evil. It's that too. I just have to say that.
100%. Thank you for saying that. Thank you. And then like my Pisces is my moon is in Pisces, which is so funny because I for so long like resisted Pisces people, even though I'm married one. So I'm like, that's so much emotion. Like, what am I supposed to do with all of that? Like, what am I supposed to do with this imaginative, like daydreamy stuff? And again, I married a Pisces, but it's because it's my moon sign, right? It's how I need to come home to myself. It's spending time alone, right? It's very Pisces, spending time in water, getting imaginative and daydreaming, right? And for so many years, I didn't let myself do all those things. And once I realized how powerful it actually is, I'm like game changer. And then I'm a Libra rising. So that's all about harmony, right? And being in community with other people, which is another reason why I love the work that I do, because I get to build community and work with people and add harmony and beauty to their life. And that shows up in how I've decorated my office and my plants and, just having an aesthetic workspace really helps actually me focus. It's not frivolous, right? It's actually really helpful. Mm-hmm. So you shared your birth chart with me, or your top 3. Do you have any specific questions about that activity, or do you want me to kind of give you? Okay.
I have so many questions. Okay. The first one is, what does it mean to be? So for those who are listening, I am a Scorpio. Like I'm a Scorpio, was born on Halloween. And I'm a Scorpio sun, Virgo moon, and Scorpio rising. So I'm a double Scorpio. I say that I'm a double Scorpio because my sun's in Scorpio, my rising is Scorpio. Chelsey, what does it mean to be like a double Scorpio? Is that a thing? Is it a thing to be a double Scorpio?
Right. I mean, yes. I think you're right. So Scorpio, again, my best friend is Scorpio too. And Scorpios and Leos are actually great matches because they both, like Scorpios have depth, right? Like they, so they're it's like very grounding, especially for a Leo, but they can be like, they're very intense, but in this like beautiful, loving, like they want to go deep. They want to understand. They want to see the transformation. They want to like be a part of like changing someone's world. The kind of hard part for them is they can be really all or nothing, yes. Right? So when we think about the morning routine, they may struggle with the good, better, best, because the thinking is, if I can't do it the way I planned, why bother doing it?
Correct. Let's see. Correct. Chelsey, wait. I say that's correct for me. When sometimes it's like the things that you teach are the things you most need to learn as well. And so, so I am a coach as well. And I can tell you that, I know my purpose in life is to help people transform their lives. I know that that's my purpose. And I've in many ways gone through so much of my own journey and have so much more to go. But you are absolutely correct that I am not a best, better, good. I'm like, it's either this or that, or like, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm just not going to do it. You're so right. Okay, Chelsey, continue.
Yes, you are. It's like the cliche, like I'll start over on Monday, right? Because you want like the clean slate. You want to like, no, I'm going to wake up on Monday as a different person who is going. I'm going to spend the weekend throwing out all the bad food in my house so that I can like.
That's me. Oh my gosh. Clean house. When I get into that, it's over. Like it's over.
And the Virgo part supports this to some extent, right? Because I love working with Virgos, and honestly, Virgos actually don't. I very rarely work with Virgos in my capacity because they tend to just be very efficient and effective people. I don't need a lot of support with time management and productivity because they want things to be like clean and organized and doable. So they can come up with the plan. Where they get in their own way is that like not perfectionism as in making sure all the spelling is correct. It's more of the perfectionism as in what's the most efficient way I can do this? Like what's like the most strategic way? Am I thinking through all the details? Am I thinking down all the different directions this can go? Like what if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? And they can kind of get lost in the what ifs versus like just executing and seeing where it goes. So that can be a challenge for them along the way. Again, love work. Like Virgos get shit done, right? And Scorpios absolutely can too. But it's not gonna look as like bright and bubbly. It might be a little bit more like below the surface kind of stuff for them. Scorpios tend to be more private. Like you're gonna show up when it's over, and only the people closest to you are even gonna know that you're trying to change this thing, right? So if you're on a health journey, you might not tell anyone what you're doing until 3 months later when you're, glowing and running the half marathon, Is that resonating? Okay.
I often hear, I didn't know you were doing that. And I'm like, I know. No.
But the people closest to you, right? Like, I mean, yeah. So like, I mean, my best friend, I know all her business, but I know that like her coworkers, like she doesn't tell anybody anything like that. So with that Virgo moon, like again, that's like kind of your energy. That's your kind of ability to kind of reset and slow down and what you need, like emotionally and internally. And so thinking about ways that you can, it's like a little bit of that aesthetic kind of stuff, but it's more about the simple tasks that just help you feel more efficient or feel more prepared, right? So it's how can you maybe lay out your clothes for your workout the night before, or like how can you prepare for your day the night before so that you're walking into it with this already ready to roll, if that makes sense, right? Like thinking about ways that you can just think of future you and make their life a little bit easier, and that will feel very like calming to you, or could feel very like rejuvenating to you. Oh, is that resonating? Do you do any of that, or do you need recommendation to do any of that?
No, Chelsey, you're, it just so happened that when I have lists, like Liz lists, like lists, my Chelsey lists. I'm showing Chelsey all my lists. Now, when I have these lists, I don't like it. My brain goes, like it just gets jumbled and I have a hard time concentrating. So what I do is when I feel like that, because this morning I came into this list and I was like, no, I need to put this in my calendar and I need to commit to doing them instead of leaving them on this list. Even having a list in front of me, Chelsey, it doesn't get me confused. I just don't feel like I'm in control, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So if you were to, so now I work from home, but with my own business. But when I was in corporate and when I was an attorney at a firm, people knew when you walk into Arivee's office, that shit is clean. There's nothing on the freaking counter. I started putting pictures up when I was in corporate, when I went from law firm to corporate. I started putting pictures up, Chelsey, when I had children. Because I was like, okay, I want them to be in. But then no diplomas, no other pictures, because I was very much like, I need a clean space so my head is clear. Like there was something about my space and organization that I thought I thrived in because I thought it was a distraction to have things around. And then when we would get like little like tchotchkes, like little like, I was like, this is trash. I can't have this in my space. This is not, even now, Chelsey, I have these shelves in my office and they're very neatly organized. There's like a little glass thing and there's a bookend and there are books and it looks great. And then it looks great, right? I come in and I say, there are too many things on the shelves. Like it's too much, even though there really isn't. And my sister goes, she goes, they look fine. What's wrong with them? They're organized. And I'm like, I know, but there are 4 figurines there, and I think there should be 1. She's like, that would look dumb. If like it's like I am very much about like clean and organization. And when other people aren't like that in my space, I get very agitated. So welcome children, like, right, who don't care about that and have to be told. But so I do, it resonates with me that you would say like having the list even the night before where you come in and you're like, yeah, I thought about this. It's 1, 2, 3. That's what we're focusing on today. That definitely helps me. Like when I have big things coming up, like if I have a big keynote or like I'm running a program, like I have a list that I put together the night before. When I have these big things that I know need my complete attention, I'll put literally on a sticky note 1, 2, and that's what I focus on. Versus like the lists I showed you right now.
Yeah, I wonder. I would also challenge it a little bit, thinking about when you worked in an office. I wonder if that was also your like the privacy piece showing up for you. Like not wanting to put that stuff up because it's no one's in your mind. It was like it's no one's business where my diploma is from or what like that. Coming from that angle, I would challenge that a little bit to wonder.
That no, Chelsey, that's right. I had this thing. Okay, so I'm just being honest. So I had this thing where I feel like there are certain professions, especially like lawyers, where some people are obsessed with prestige and obsessed with like where I went to school. And I never cared. Like, yes, I wanted to go to a great school and I did. But after you're in the firm, it does not matter. So I was like, I'm not participating in this like this. What is it called? Show. What's it called? The show with pony. Chelsey, what's it called?
Login pony.
Gosh, it was these American sayings. It's so hard for me. Okay, so I'm not participating. And I'm not saying that if you show your diploma in your office, you are, but my personal decision was that how I perceived it was, let me show off where I went to school. And I just didn't feel like I need to do that. Let me show off all these pictures. I just didn't want to do that. And I do think, Chelsey, to your point, part of it is this, I am a very deep person, like a deeply thinking person. And I hate, Chelsey, I hate surface level conversations. They literally make me feel like I'm going to poke my eye out. I like to go deep quickly. And if I can't with you, it was so nice meeting you, but like I got to go, right? Because to me, it's a waste of my time. And so I found that like when you put stuff in your office, people are like, oh, you went to Boston College. And it becomes it's often like just very surface level. And I'm like, no, we don't need that conversation starter, right? Let's talk about why you came into my office. Let's get down to business. What do you need? You're done. Okay, thank you. And we move on. So that was part of it too, Chelsey, right? Like there are these other elements of Scorpio that for sure I didn't realize until much later, right? Like until you really kind of get to know your sign a bit, at least for me, I didn't realize why I did certain things. And now I'm like, oh yeah, I did that because of X and Y reason, or there could be more reasons. But you're definitely right to challenge that piece as more than just, I like stuff organized.
Well, you said your Mercury is also in Scorpio, right? That also makes sense because that's Mercury is your communication, like communication style. So wanting to be deep, wanting to like go deep quickly makes sense, right? For Scorpio, that makes total sense to me as well. And yeah, I mean, my best friend, like I think I can't go shopping with her anymore because we'll spend 15 minutes getting the entire life story of the checkout lady, and she's like solving this girl's boyfriend problems. And I'm like, can you just scan the items? So
We also
yeah,
get really curious.
yes,
We also get
yeah. It's like this deep, which I mean, again, I'm teasing her a little bit because I appreciate it, right? Like people who can do that, that's a gift, to help people feel so seen. Like
Yeah.
when you have the attention of a Scorpio, you are deeply seen, deeply known.
I've heard that. And then and then I have friends who've said to me, "You just asked too many questions." Like I just am really curious. And I want to know the real reason. Like I'm gonna like try to go deeper. Um and not necessarily because I'm trying to achieve anything. It's because like I'm generally curious. And I feel like when I'm talking to certain people, especially like really good friends, and they do it to me too, which is why I have a very close-knit small circle of friends, right? Because I don't share with everyone, like you were saying, where it's very private. But I feel like I see them and I can go deeper, I can go underneath, but they can do that with me too. And they will go with me down there, right? Because I feel like I once heard that it's like a Scorpio lives at the bottom of the ocean where it's really dark and really deep. And it takes a certain kind of person to go down there because sometimes Scorpio needs someone to go down there with them and help them come back up to see some of the light. And that's totally true for me. I need
Yeah,
to handle the depth and like pull me a little bit up. And my friends typically do that for me.
absolutely. Yeah. And that's why uh it's so fun to be able to see not only where these things lie, but again, how they how they work together, right? Like what makes your Scorpio unique than my best friend, right? Like you guys are going to be totally different, even though you're born 2 days apart, 3 days apart. So I, that's what I have really come to appreciate about this. And like, even like I was teasing, like my husband's a Pisces and I was like, oh, fire and water, what are we doing here? But like his moon is in Leo. I did his first chart and I was like, this is so he's looking for to shine and we're balancing each other out in that way, right? Like, and so he's keeping my feet on the like, or I'm keeping his feet on the ground because he can be, very um daydreamy and imaginative, and it's not always pretty things that he's imagining, right? And so I can help ground him with the way I think, but he also helps me think big, right? And like I can think big, but like he helps me be more imaginative and be more emotional and kind of check in like, am I kind of blazing this all on fire and going too fast? So we just balance each other out really nicely in that way. Um, and so it's been a really fun way to get to know my clients much better. I put my poor family through this whole exercise, so I got all their information, and again, and it's not that it might not always work, right? I think one of the biggest things that I emphasize when I'm working with folks is this is about experimentation,
Mm.
right? Like just because your birth chart says that you're gonna want to take a shower in the morning, right? Like, does it mean that that's actually what you have to do every day, or you're actually going to like it? So it's also giving people permission to experiment and try it out and not make it mean anything if it doesn't work, right? Or if it's not something you enjoy. And okay, we'll just try it again. Or maybe in this season, your work has to look this way, and in the next season, it's going to look different. And how can we expand and kind of change and check in with ourselves along the way so you're recognizing what you really need in that moment and can adjust accordingly. Um, so that's also been a really important component of this work.
Chelsey, tell me more about how human design intersects with astrology and the work, kind of in the work you do, and maybe to explain for people what human design is.
Sure. So human design, I'm still still very much in the learning process. But human design really looks at your it's really like your energy and decision making. I would say is the best way to describe it. So it uses your same birth chart information and comes up with um just like a different lens through which we can see a lot of the information about you. So I'm a manifesting generator. there's manifesting generator, generators, manifestors, reflectors, and projectors. And then you have like an emotional authority or some kind of authority and how you make decisions. I'm an emotional authority. And so what that means for me, and I'll just speak as a manifesting generator because that's the one I know best right now, but we are responders. So like I need something to react to be inspired. Um it and I also am a multi-passionate multitasking person, which for many years, especially when I started my business, made me feel like I was such a flake because I was constantly changing my mind. I want to offer this today, this tomorrow, like constantly changing things. And I was like, my audience is going to think I am wacky and unserious, right? And they're like, who the heck is she? Like, what is happening? And it made me feel so self-conscious. And then I was like, once I learned about my human design and what I needed and how I could kind of ride these waves, like, oh, okay, it's my business. I'm actually allowed to change my mind and make new offers and try different things. And my audience will catch on and they'll figure it out and they'll be excited with me. And here's, like I was able to use it as a superpower. And the same thing with the responding, because if we'll get the best ideas when I'm like listening to a podcast or reading a book or even like going for a walk, having a conversation. That helps me make connections in my brain that inspires me for content or a new idea or something I want to try or make me think of a person to reach out to. So if I'm not responding to something or someone, forcing me to create something is so hard. Like, and like that's where I can get uncomfortable. Like if I'm creating my own content, like I have nothing to say, right? Like if I'm not responding to something, I feel like I have nothing to say. And we can tell ourselves stories about like, "Oh, then I don't know what I'm talking about," right? Like, and so again, I think all of this, human design, Enneagram, astrology, all of it is tools to help us understand ourselves best. It's not like who, you know what I mean? Like you don't have to make it mean anything. If it doesn't resonate with you, move on. But all of it is tools to help us dig a little bit deeper, understand where our line of thinking is coming from and how we can turn that into a superpower for ourselves rather than like a cycle that we're stuck in that can be detrimental to our goals.
I love that, the way you frame that and how it can be very key to behavioral change, right? Because when you have this new awareness or a enhanced level of awareness, behavioral change starts to make more sense because you can personalize it. And you don't have to be these 5 people and saying, okay, I'm going to try that and try that when that doesn't fit with your life and what your natural strengths and your natural disposition might be. So I love that. I love the way that you framed that and put that together for people because I really hope people start to see these things as tools and you can take what is helpful and you can leave what's not helpful. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Tell us more about your work now and how people really work with you and what you do with folks.
Yeah. So it's, I actually am trying to come up with another title because time management productivity coach doesn't quite feel right.
It's not deep enough, Chelsey. It's not deep enough.
It's not deep enough. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, yes, do my clients get more done? Are they more efficient in how they execute their day-to-day life? Absolutely. But it's so much bigger than that because the real work is recognizing that your self-worth is actually not in what you produce, right? It's that mindset work. It's defining productivity for yourself. What is it? What does a productive day look like for you? Not like sincerely, right? Like what do you need to accomplish at the end of the day to feel good? And even if that's just, I watched 5 episodes of Bridgerton and I feel amazing, right? Like there's no judgment here. It's not
By the way, if anyone's listening, let me tell you, season 2 was just as good, if not better than season 1 of Bridgerton. I just have to say that because I'm
amazing. Yes, 100%. So really, really getting to be able to personalize what productivity means to you, being able to get ourselves out of this like hustle grind, the expectations that we have on ourselves to do the same thing every day. So that's like the real work. Like, yes, I can teach you how to make a great to-do list and project plan and make a beautiful strategy. more than importantly than that, we'll talk about how to execute that, right? Like how to build that consistency, how to rebuild that self-trust from all the times you started on Monday and then abandoned your plans by Thursday. So we work through all of that. And right now I have a couple different ways. I do one-on-one coaching, right? If you want like the more in-depth, and we go really deep into like birth chart and find all those kind of key tools that you can use to help you experiment with what routines and strategies and systems are going to work best for you. And then I have the Cosmic Productivity Club, which is a school group, and we do monthly trainings and I do some like live coaching. All of my resources are in there. So that's just a really fun place to hang out, kind of get your toes wet in starting to adjust and experiment with your own routines and rhythms and habits so that you can reach your goals.
Oh, I love that. And I so resonate and appreciate what you said about self-worth. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have found that I would say almost 100% of the time in my coaching, the root cause to so much is the self-worth, enoughness. What's enough for me? Why do I keep moving the goalpost? Why is it never enough for me? Why do I feel like I'm never good enough? Why do I feel like I'm not impressive enough, smart enough, successful enough? When I've achieved all the things I dreamed of, it's still not enough, and then I'm not enough. And I I know we can I feel like we've overused self-worth, the phrase, but it doesn't take away from the fact that it is, to me, some of the root issues of what people experience, right? Even when you even say productivity, right? I love that you're like, time management productivity doesn't capture like what I do. It doesn't because productivity sounds so like technical and like frankly kind of like patriarchal. Like there's some kind of industrial.
Yeah, it's masculine was the word that
It's masculine. So it's very much
Yeah.
must do, and you're not paying attention to any rhythms or anything that could alter your state, your body, your mind, your spirit, all that stuff. And when I think of self-worth, I really do think that is the reason why so many of us suffer, especially women, men too, or anyone, right? But especially women and mothers. I feel like it is such a deep-rooted issue. Um, and I do think it's like a journey throughout life. Like, I don't think you just wake up one day and say, I feel enough. Some people might, but I think it's a journey because a lot of times you're spending so much of your life trying to accomplish and achieve and do the things, and you make that mean something about what you're worth. And then I'm in the process right now, or my journey now is still unraveling things, right? And letting go and shedding layers and masks and really being fully expressed as myself. And that's really difficult because you're also shedding expectations and shedding things you used to believe that maybe weren't your real beliefs, but you were conditioned to believe them. So I love the work you do is much deeper than, just like, here are some hacks because those don't work.
Yes, and I feel like we could talk for another hour on all of that. Because I've had like my definition of productivity is working on the right thing at the right time to help you reach your goal, right? So like it's really the right thing is like the specific task, right? Like understanding what to do. The right time is what makes sense for you, time of day, time of the month, like time of your life, like when it's the right time to do this work. And then the goal is you have to know what you're actually working towards. Because I think this hustle culture has hurt so many people in the fact that they think they just need to be busy all of the time. Like we wear busy like a badge of honor, and we place our self-worth on how many things we can check off the to-do list. And if you're not working towards a specific goal, whatever that goal may be, right? Like you get to decide what the goal is, but all the work has to help you reach some bigger milestone, not just because you feel like you can't leave your desk because it's not 5 o'clock yet. And the expectation is that you sit at your desk until it's 5 o'clock and just keep pushing through. So yeah, like I said, we could talk for a whole other hour about that because it's so important. So important. And I love the work that you're doing because if more women were fully expressed, I think the world would be a very different place.
There's a lot of fear, Chelsey, a lot of fear and a lot of
Yeah.
the unknown fear of, wait, who am I without this title, this prestigious profession, this thing? who I've worked my entire life to create this. And what do you mean and I'm like, no, it doesn't mean you just totally implode. It's just you now feel like yourself. And there is nothing more powerful than being aligned with who you are. Like nothing more powerful than being like, this is me and I'm living my life. I am not ascribing, whatever you want to say. I am truly living in a way that is true for me while taking care of my responsibilities. Like it doesn't have to be either or. This is all or nothing, right, Chelsey?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to dip your toe, like you said, dip your toe a bit and to start asking yourself some questions. Maybe do your birth chart, maybe do your human design work, maybe do these things that your Enneagram to show you like, hey, oh, this is why I'm like this, or this is what I want to further explore about myself, right? This is all a journey, I find, Chelsey. Like I
Yes.
tell people like I'm never gonna arrive. Like I'm always gonna be learning and growing. Okay. Like all of us are they don't have it all figured out. But we're learning and we're learning together. And what a beautiful thing to be open to that journey versus saying, I can't even take a look. Because if I take a look, I don't know what I'm going to find. And I'm terrified at what I might find because I may find that what I'm doing is not what I want.
Yeah. Yeah. And that is uncomfortable.
Yes. Yes. Not impossible, but uncomfortable. Chelsey, tell us.
Not impossible.
No, not impossible. Tell us where people can find you to work with you.
Sure. So the best place is on Instagram at Chelsey and Coaching, and it's Chelsey with a Y. And then my website is chelseynewmyer.com, and pretty much those are the two best spots to find me and get in touch. I also have a podcast called the Cosmic Productivity Method, and that's where I just share all kinds of. I just nerd out on all of this stuff, and it's so fun.
Yes, people, please check out that podcast because I think it's also the episodes to me are fun to listen to. So check out the podcast.
Oh, thank you.
No, I really, really enjoyed listening to those episodes. So Chelsey, thank you so much for what you share with the world and for what you give. And just you have a very bright light. I mean, that's one of the reasons why we reached out for you because I noticed that and I was like, oh, she has this energy. We're gonna vibe on this podcast. So thank you so much for what you're doing and what you bring.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. And yeah, I loved it. Thank you.
Thank you for spending this time with me on the Humble Rising podcast. I hope today's conversation left you with a new perspective, a little encouragement, or the reminder you needed to keep moving forward with confidence and intention. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone in your life who could use it too. And if you haven't already, be sure to follow, subscribe, and leave a rating or review. It helps more people discover these conversations and become part of our growing community. And if you'd like more support on your growth journey, be sure to check out the show notes for additional resources and ways to connect with me. Until next time, remember, you have the power to lead, work, and live in a way that feels purposeful, fulfilling, and true to you.